Let's start with a short meditation to center and to arrive mentally. Sit upright in a comfortable position and close your eyes. Keep your spine straight and your neck upright. Take a deep breath through the nose into your belly. Hold for a little while and breathe out through the open mouth. Put your attention on your breath. Don't concentrate or focus too hard. Don't strain. Just allow yourself to get calm and peaceful, to get out of your thoughts, to arrive mentally in the here and now. Observe emerging emotions, thoughts, pictures that come and go. Don't try to suppress anything. You are like a dispassionate observer. Just arrive in the here and now. And don't forget to smile to the outside and to your inside. At the end, put your awareness back to your body and your environment. Open very slowly your eyes. Take your time. Tapas, the third Niyama in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Tapas means self-discipline, modification of attitudes and behaviors to effect psychological transformation. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 243, we can read: disciplined purification actions result in perfection of the body, mind and senses. From the commentary of Roy Jean Davis about tapas. The body is purified and refined by wholesome living, nutritious foods, clean environmental conditions, and superconscious influences that flow as we become more spiritually aware. Cleansing procedures can be used to detoxify the body when necessary. The subtle channels through which life forces flow in the spine and brain are purified by pranayama practice and spontaneous movements of kundalini energies that circulate when they have been awakened. The mind is purified by sattvic influences that are allowed to prevail, and by regular practice of superconscious samadhi. Tapas or tapasya describes the spiritual pursuit through concentrated discipline, asceticism, and passionate devotion to the ideal of self-realization and God-realization. Disciplined practices of cleansing and purifying the body, mind and senses lead to perfection and bring out changes in attitude and behavior, as well as psychological transformation. The third Niyama, Tapas, describes the practices, the means, and the goal of purification and clarification on all levels. The Sanskrit word tapas comes from the root word tap, which means to burn. And indeed, we say that we are burning for something when we are full of enthusiasm and passion and devote ourselves to something with absolute dedication, or when we are on fire for something, don't we? To ensure that our enthusiasm and passion for the spiritual path do not remain a short-lived flash in the pan, but continue to burn brightly in the long term, consistent discipline is required until the goal is achieved. From then on, one lives a realized life, without desires or expectations, in an authentic, detached serenity, in pure bliss. What exactly is discipline, and what is self-discipline? Discipline refers to the ability to follow rules, stick to routines, and fulfill obligations in order to achieve a goal. Disciplined behavior is characterized, for example, by routine, regularity, and punctuality. Discipline is important for achieving common goals, coordinating processes, and assigning each individual their place and role in a team. People adhere to rules that have been established by others, for example, at work, at school, or in a sports team. Some time ago I was busy doing my yoga exercises when my daughter showed her friends our house, looked into my room and said, "Hi, Dad." Turning to her friends, she said, "That's my dad. He does yoga." Later on, she said to me, "Oh, Dad, I wished I had your discipline." I thought about it and asked her about her goals. She looked at me a little confused, so I continued. "You know, discipline without goals is exhausting and demotivating in the long run. A spiritual path is a path that must be walked alone. No one can walk it for us. A group cannot carry us. And there is only my Dharma and my path to God." Self-discipline and self-restraint can help us to follow the spiritual path with determination, to consciously carry out constructive practices and routines, to follow them attentively, to check the effectiveness of the individual exercises and practices, and to make adjustments if necessary. Self-discipline and self-restraint on the spiritual path to self-realization and God-realization can help us to remain focused, disciplined, and attentive, and not drift off into fantasies about events or states of consciousness that you think you have attained. The constructive measures of the 5 tapas describe disciplined practices for purifying and clarifying the body, mind, and senses. They serve the goal of self-realization and should be carried out consistently, but with patience and dedication. During my 2-week retreats at CSA Lakemont, just after a few days, I was always overcome by an uplifting feeling that all my everyday problems had been forgotten, or at least calmed down, that physical relaxation and mental calm prevailed, and that an expectation-free emptiness and attentive openness filled me. And regularly, 1 to 2 days before returning home, my thoughts began to revolve around familiar problems again. Once home, I quickly became entangled in everyday life, with all its supposed problems and pressing challenges. So I wrote to Mr. Davis, asking him how to bring the experience and feeling of an indescribable peace and serenity from a retreat with me, how to perceive it and integrate it into my everyday life. Roy replied briefly, "Stick to your routines." Some memories of statements made by Roy Jean Davis on disciplined actions. Do what you know you should do. Keep to your routines that work for you. Does it work for you? Kriya Yoga is a path of aloneness, not of loneliness. Be clear about what you are doing and why. Use the meditation technique that works best for you. A routine is a planned, regular daily schedule that includes personal hygiene, eating, work, exercise, fitness, recreation, spiritual practices, meditation, and sleep. One should be aware of what one is doing and why one is doing it. It is beneficial to develop and adhere to a personalized, holistic routine that takes all areas into account, is performed at fixed times, and allows adjustments. There is no universal routine that suits everyone, because family and work commitments or physical limitations, for example, require individual adjustments. The word discipline can evoke feelings of external coercion, pressure, control, obligation, of having to do something unpleasant, conformity or adjustment, right? When a guru has successfully followed a spiritual path and thus serves as an authentic example, efforts and sacrifices can be more easily accepted and embraced. Disciplined action then brings about adaptation and reorientation through practice and repetition. Self-discipline thus becomes both a sensible path and a necessary attitude for achieving the desired goal of self-realization. When an exercise is performed at the same time every day, the body and mind become accustomed to it, and performance and results become increasingly satisfactory over time. It is important that this remains a conscious, attentive practice and does not become a mechanical routine. James Lynn, a long-term disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda, said to Roy, "It is better to meditate for 20 minutes every day than to have irregular, longer sessions with long breaks in between. It is also important to give your body, mind, and senses the time they need to get used to routines and to practice, cultivate, internalize, and perfect them. Change takes time and patience, because transformations must happen and occur at all levels and be lasting. How long did it take you to become who you are today, even if you only consider this lifetime? Take the time that it needs and be patient with yourself. Searching for faster, easier, or immediately effective methods of practice and constantly starting over ultimately requires much more effort and energy, and ultimately prevents us from achieving the spiritual goal of self-realization. During launch, a space shuttle consumes about 70% of its fuel in the first 130 seconds. After a successful start, it becomes easier with significantly less effort. Every beginning is difficult, but constantly starting over is not an effective way to achieve your goals. Here is a little story with the title, "How can we get rid of the suspended particles and deposits?" Imagine a glass container or bowl, perhaps the shape and size of a watermelon. It contains murky moor water. The longer the container stands undisturbed, the clearer the water becomes, and the suspended solids and coarse particles sink to the bottom. When new water is added or the container is shaken, the water becomes cloudy again. This is a way how you can imagine the meditation process, or what happens during meditation. The glass bowl is the mind, and the floating particles and coarse particles are our thoughts, emotions, problems, and attachments. When during the meditation process, thoughts, emotions, and the body calm down, the mental particles settle to the bottom and the mind and perception become clear. When new thoughts arise, the mind is distracted and perception becomes clouded again. When I explained in a course meditation in this way, a participant came after to me and asked, "I now understand what meditation is and what happens during it. But the floating particles and deposits are still there. How can I get rid of them?" With TAPAS, disciplined measures of purification, clarification, and detoxification, through pranayama, superconscious meditation, a sattvic lifestyle, and repeated experiences of samadhi. Use this technique of creative imagination to cultivate and realize the attitudes and behaviors of tapas. Knowing that you are a spiritual being superior to your mind and to mundane circumstances, do the following. Meditate at the beginning alone in a quiet place. Sit upright on a chair, close your eyes, and relax. Breathe 3 times deeply in and out. Concentrate on the area between the eyebrows and watch your breath. Don't try to control it. Just observe your breath. Feel the cool air while inhaling and warm air when exhaling. If you like, you can use a mantra. When your mind is calm and your awareness is clear, vividly imagine that you are tapas. You are self-discipline. Your body, mind, and senses are purified and refined. There is no need to use willpower. Remember Patanjali's Yoga Sutra about tapas. Disciplined actions of purification result in perfection of the body, mind, and senses. Clearly see yourself as this person who is fully established in tapas, in self-discipline, and feel it at the deepest level of your being. Imagine and feel how you as this person will think. How do you speak? And how will you act? The feeling that you have should be of acceptance and gratitude, rather than an emotion. Rest for a while in that awareness and feeling of accomplishment of tapas. Now, bring your awareness back to your body and your circumstances. Take your time And open your eyes very, very slowly. Maintain your clear awareness and feeling of accomplishment of tapas after your practice session. Om.